We went to the voter polls years ago and to obtain Parks and Recreation powers and graffiti abatement powers. The voters gave us the powers, but they also, at the same election, they turned down the funding for these as well. And so this board and this agency has worked tirelessly over the years to come up with ways of trying to get our park and recreation facilities in this community to be a benefit, and we've been very successful in that. We have provided this community with a skate park, United Street Park, Williford Park, which has a pool and tennis courts and basketball courts, and but the thing is that we have to somehow figure out how to get the community to vote themselves a tax raise, and that's, I'm just going to call it what it is, and to help fund the cost of keeping these parks going. And it's always been the goal of this agency, is to eventually take it to the people again and ask for that funding that we desperately need to keep our parks open. So we're early in the discussions on this. There's no decisions have been made, and so there's, you know, but we are working towards that goal, and I really do believe the good people in this community will step up and, you know, vote to keep our parks funded and keep it as a benefit to this community. Also, it was brought up that there was a discussion regarding LED lighting for the tennis courts in the playground area at Williford Park at a cost of $51,173.56. It was the committee's recommendation to table this until the strategic plan is completed, and also, you know, figuring out how we're going to get funding for the parks before we go and take on another expense that we really can't afford to do. So that's all I've got. Is there any discussion?
And yeah, that is the big news for today, is the job fair. So I've left some flyers in back for any folks that would be interested, or friends you may know. So the first voting will be here at this location. We're very excited to start getting local candidates and getting people to work. So if you have any questions, the website address is on here as well, down here at the bottom. And then I've also got a community hotline that we've got going, so I can give you that number as well. If you have any concerns about the project, that's a good way to relay them to us. So are there any questions from the board?
Two of them, right?
We are, yeah, so this mentions that, so the first one will be here. Our actual address is Rosamond, so you guys are the closest community to us, so that's where we'll first target folks. And then a little portion of our project is actually in LA County as well, so I wanted to also reach out to those communities. And so that's a little bit smaller venue at the Fairmont Market, but it's the location of both OSO and Fairmont Town Council meetings. Which segues well. I would love to participate in your cancer meeting, but I'm kind of double booked that evening. The Fairmont Town Council as well as the Rosamond Municipal Advisory Council are both that evening. So maybe I'll circle back with Steve and find out what you guys talk about. And then perhaps I can offer my, and that's mostly from a personal point of view, just because we've chatted, it's definitely close to my heart as well.
Great. The phone number you have, what's the phone number?
You know what?
Is
It is.
It's not on here, is it?
I just switched to a brand new notebook and it's not in here.
Okay.
My apologies. And you know what, I don't have it in here, so I don't want to give you the wrong number. It's a 1-800 number, I just got it going. It's 1-800-300, and I don't want to incorrectly give you the last digits. So
Okay.
I will be here I'll be in the area all next week, and we'll be doing some of the planning for the job fair that will be Saturday the 23rd. And I'll definitely provide that number to Steve, and then we'll be putting it on the website as well. You could check the website.
Oh, it's on the website.
It is on the
Okay.
website, yeah.
It's on the website.
We had these, got these started before I had that number, so.
Gotcha.
But we want to make sure that we're available to the community, whether it's online or phone or in person, so.
We have been dealing with various individuals with regard to delinquencies on the bill. This board doesn't micromanage on how we deal with those, and we appreciate that because the staff here has compassion, has the authority to work with people to get their bills paid. Now, we send out a lot of turn-off notices, and we turn off a lot of water, but we work with people on their bills and try to get them paid. In most part, people will pay their bills. They will make good their arrangements that they have made on paying their arrearages. And we don't look at it a second time. But then there's some that don't, and they never do. And the reason I bring this up is not to point them out, but basically to show that in the arena of 5,500 accounts, we have a lot of folks that individually, we carry a balance for them. It's kind of like loaning them money, and it's put off and put off and put off. And when they get to the point where they do not pay, do not comply, we need to talk to them again to find out what we can do to get them in order. And it gets to a point where if we shut them off, then they want to talk about their bill. And really, it comes down to getting them in here to sit down and talk and figure out how we can do things. You will hear, no doubt, next week, or next meeting, one such person. And they'll probably be here with their attorney. And but there's nothing that we can do when they just fail over and over and over again. Not make a small payment, but not make any payment, not make any attempt to come in and work out something to readjust it or have an understanding, but just ignore us. So we may see that again.
Steve, let me comment on that real quick because it deserves a little bit more than what you did. Both what Steve's talking about, there's several people in our community who thinks that the RCSD basically credit towards them. I've stood up in that office and people have had situations. I've seen the staff work with them. I've also seen one of the staff people, I'm not saying good or bad, but put money from her pocket towards one of these people's bills because they care. What I don't like is when people call up. They call, I've had several people call me to complain about Steve and Lizette about how they handle things. We don't micromanage them. Steve runs the district, he runs the staff, but the bad part about it, all of us have an obligation. Some of the same people that I've seen complain about their bills, they've been over at Fast Trip buying auto tickets, cigarettes, and beer. The reason I'm letting you folks know because if it gets to the point where someone tries to give us an ugly eye, I will share this with everyone. We do everything we can to be fair. All of us pay the same rates that everybody else pays. When people come up here, they out and out lie on the GM, on the district. It's one person attempted to. Saying we don't care, we care very much. However, just like any business, a business doesn't keep the stores open by listening to everyone's excuses. And when you can go out and buy tobacco products, buy scratchers, and everything else before you pay your utility, either your priority list is out of whack or you need a little bit of help with it. We help everyone as best we can. Steve and I had a discussion. The only thing Steve said, if they would have done this, I could have done this. People have to help us help them, but several people in our community, they take advantage of us. Then after the fact, we become the big bad down the street. And I've seen Lizette, I've seen Steve, I've seen his office people stay over trying to make things work. So I would just ask the news folks and anyone in our community, if you hear people talking about us, just remember there's two sides to the story, and these people aren't being real fair because there's one person in particular that disturbed me. Steve made an honest effort to get in touch with him. It's not after he took adverse action, they called him back and they wanted to be mad at him. But the entire time we've been working with them. So like I said, it's nothing we're trying to take advantage of these people. And they call me on my cell phone all the time to tell me how mean Steve is. And after a little fact finding, guess what I find out? We did everything we could to help. and we're gonna continue to help. However, when you become abusive to us, we have nothing to do but to stand firm and do what we have to do, because they're good payers in this community. They'll like clockwork, pay their rates, pay their bills on time, and never complain about it. You have a very small, select few that take advantage of the system.